Hi folks, welcome to a little extra bit of IndyCar this afternoon. One of the problems with IndyCar is trying to find a place where the spooks who tend to troll my transmissions and try to block me is that I always have to find new places to park up to broadcast this show. So I've also changed my camera angle just to make it even harder for those UK spooks to figure out exactly where I'm parked from looking out the back window of my car and reading the signs on the shops. So I'll give you a little heads up if you're a UK spook. I'm not parked near any shops at all this time. Anyway, this part of IndyCar today is about two things. It's actually, firstly, about the race to become, well, if the race is the right word, the contest to become the next Tory leader and the next Prime Minister of the UK. And also a lot more about why the people who are currently the front runners in the race, in this race, as it were, are the front runners in this race. One of the weird things about the situation that we're in at the moment is that the BBC, as we all know, is very non-impartial in this whole affair. The BBC is, well, what can I say? It's going along with the government in its efforts to stitch up the country. And what I mean by that is the BBC is at the moment advertising a programme which is going to go out on the 18th of this month, and it's called Your Next Prime Minister. Now, normally when you see things like this coming up, where politicians are debating with one another on live TV, you're about to elect one of them. But this is different because none of us is about to elect any of these guys at all, not unless we are members of the Blue Rins Tory party. So unless you're a white, middle-class, wealthy, retiree, Tory voter and Tory donor and member of the party, you have absolutely no choice in which of these candidates that the BBC is going to show you debating will be your next Prime Minister. None whatsoever. So it's not going to be like a talent show where you get to phone in and vote for your most popular choice. That's not going to happen. This is going to be a choice made by a tiny minority of upper middle class white retired individuals, and that choice on the Prime Minister of this country is going to be made on your behalf by people that have no interest in you whatsoever. You have no say in the matter at all. You haven't voted for the Conservative Party. You haven't voted for the individuals. So this is a sham that's being promoted by the BBC as some kind of debate night where the individuals who are campaigning to become the Tory leader appear in a television debate. But what's the point for the viewers? I mean, the viewers who are not Tory party members don't get any choice. We would have to sit there and go, well, I don't like this one, or that one's not quite as bad as the other. But it really makes no difference to us, because whatever happens, it's out of your hands anyway. So why is the BBC doing this? Well, that's the problem, isn't it? Why is the BBC doing anything for the Conservative Party? And why does the BBC continually give Nigel Farage all of the attention on every news show? I mean, this morning, Nigel Farage's party was defeated. And yet, who was the person who was interviewed about the success of the Labour Party candidate? But Nigel Farage, the loser, was interviewed, not the winner of the by-election. The loser was interviewed. Nigel Farage's party didn't get an MP, wasn't voted in, and have no role to play whatsoever in British politics at all. Nigel Farage's Brexit Party PLC is a corporation. It's not even a party. And according to Nigel Farage this morning when he was interviewed, he's not going to print a manifesto because he believes manifestos are just a tissue of lies, which means that any kind of ideas that the Brexit Party comes up with, ergo, must be a tissue of lies, because that would be a manifesto. So the man has no shame at all and is waffling away as though he was entitled to be the next deputy leader of the Tory party, or the next deputy Prime Minister. He's not. So we have this bizarre position where the BBC is running a talent competition for the next Prime Minister in which none of the British public gets to say. Bizarre. It doesn't even begin to describe the situation that we're in at the moment. And then we have to wonder why all of the candidates, or rather, should I say, the main candidates, the front runners, Boris Johnson, Dominic Raab, Michael Gove, these are all people who have links with Donald Trump. These are people who've been across to support Donald Trump. These are people who have been bankrolled by Donald Trump's financiers. Nigel Farage is the person who is actually being advised by Steve Bannon on how to take Britain out of the European Union, and why it's important for Britain to come out of the European Union so that American corporations can get into the UK market. Nigel Farage is not going to be a politician. He's a businessman who is selling the United Kingdom to the United States. And that is exactly what is going to happen when Boris Johnson becomes Prime Minister. If he puts Farage anywhere near the levers of power, if he elevates him to a peerage and incorporates him somehow into the cabinet, then that's it. Donald Trump has bought his man inside the British political system, and the whole of British politics has effectively been purchased by the United States. And then it's game over. The whole of the Brexit fiasco that we are living through is the sale of the British state to the United States. It's the Tories finally giving up any chance of keeping the United Kingdom as some kind of country on its own right. They've given up any hope of ever having any real clout in the world ever again, and have decided to sell out and throw in their lot with America and become part of the USA. And not only part of the USA, but part of the USA's trading axis with countries like, for example, Israel. Now, I'm not going to say anything about Israel because it's a very hot topic and people have very strong opinions one way or another. But I wasn't surprised when I discovered that one of the first countries that the United Kingdom had spoken to about trade deals was Israel. So the two biggest trading nations, if you like, that the UK is interested in are the United States and Israel. I'd be very surprised actually if they're not interested also in the Saudi Arabians as well, and possibly one or two other places that they have vested interests in. But basically what the BBC is going to do on the 18th of this month is parade a bunch of Tory hard Brexiteers in front of you, pretending that there is some kind of contest going on where you get to pick the winner. But you don't. You don't get to pick anything. It's all been decided for you by the Conservative Party. The Conservative Party's ageing, wrinkly, retired, right-wing Daily Mail readers are going to decide what happens in your country and what Prime Minister you get, and just how much of your health service is going to be sold to the United States, because that's the price of the trade deal. Donald Trump has said it. Donald Trump's trade ambassador has said it. Donald Trump tried to unsay it the other day, but not very successfully. It's all a stitch up. The whole thing is a stitch up. It's been a stitch up from the beginning, and it will end up with us being part of the United States. That's where we're going. And frankly, I don't want to be part of the United States. I don't want gun laws introduced into this country where everybody gets to buy a gun. The last thing we want is our streets littered with dead bodies from mass shootings the way they are in the United States. The Americans would be very quick, actually, to make sure that Britain's laws were changed to be more in line with America's laws. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if they wanted gun laws relaxed in the UK so that they could sell arms to the UK, sell arms to civilians in the UK. Nothing would surprise me. Nothing is off the table, they said. And I believe it. Nothing is off the table. But the only thing that's off the table as far as I'm concerned, and I hope as far as you and the rest of Scotland are concerned, is Scotland. Scotland is off the table. We're not going to become the 51st state, and we're not going to be part of the United Kingdom that becomes the 51st state of the USA. We are going to be the 28th state of the European Union, and we're going to stay free, and we're going to stay independent, and we're not going to be fooled by this BBC propaganda where they pretend that somehow or other parading Boris Johnson, Michael Gove and all the rest of the cohort in front of us in some kind of beauty pageant, kidding on that it's a debate where we get any kind of choice. Nobody is going to be fooled by that. I'm absolutely sick of the BBC. I cannot believe what they have descended into. They always were partisan. They always were British nationalistic. But this is just taking it too far now. They are now the Tory party's public relations company. And that's all they are now doing. Every news programme is littered with references to World War II, references to how brilliant America is, references to Trump, and the fact that we are going to have a wonderful trade deal with America. So things are, once your so-called free press and your free media are suddenly all basically working for the government, then you've lost your democracy. There's no longer freedom of the press when people like Julian Assange can be locked up, and when the Australian Broadcasting Company's offices are being raided by right-wing thugs to lock up and take away 3 journalists who dared to say that the Australian army had committed war atrocities in Afghanistan. When it's okay to lock up the media for telling the truth, then you know you're no longer living in a democracy. We certainly are living in an Orwellian nightmare at the moment, as far as I can see. And the sooner Scots wake up and get the picture, because it's not going to end well. We're going to leave Europe, we're going to become part of the United States, we're going to be eating contaminated meat, we're going to be eating low quality food, we are going to be probably buying handguns from America. Who knows what the future holds, but as I say, nothing is off the table anymore. See you later. Bye bye.